Welcome back, everybody, to another edition of Hoops with Noops, brought to you by the fine folks at FTN. You can find this video on the FTN Network YouTube channel every Monday and Friday. There's also a written version of Hoops with Noops, which you can find on FTN Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. Of course, I'm always in the FTN Bets Discord. You can message me there, put questions in the NBA betting channel. If you are able to sign up, again, you get access to a ton of great content, a lot of great conversations, and additional plays. For this piece, I really only have time to go through my full game bets. A lot of prop bets end up in that NBA plays chat, which have done fairly well this year. Some futures and things when I put those out. So always a good time to sign up for FTN. Again, you get into that Discord, tons of great tools, lots of data, really great content, and things just continue to get better as we continue to grow. You can see down there in the banner scrolling below a little discount for you to sign up. And of course, always check the social media accounts. If you follow on Twitter at FTN Fantasy, they are often running specials. My guess is there might be a Super Bowl special as well this week. We will see. But time to talk a little association. Happy Monday. It was a long weekend. I know that you guys are probably already counting, probably still counting your Chiefs money or complaining about the Baltimore Ravens, who really played just a mess of a football game and probably ruined your Ravens 49ers parlay. But that's okay because the association persists. We've only got one NFL game left this year, but months of NBA basketball, professionals every night going back and forth. Of course, again, we're kind of in the middle of it. It's January. Things are tough. There's a lot of injury concerns, schedule concerns. It's the slog part of the year. We've got a couple weeks here before we get to the trade deadline and the All-Star break, before things start to settle up. And we see really the best of these teams as they try to work their way into the postseason. A lot of games to cover today. And again, I mentioned you got to be in that FTN Bets Discord. As always, I do have a bet to share in this piece, but just too much unknown to make a bet this early in the day. But don't worry, we'll go through every game anyway, and I'll kind of give you the lay of the land. Let's get started with the first game, and I like a spot in this game. The New York Knicks visit the Charlotte Hornets. The Knicks are 8.5-point favorites. The total sits at 223.5. Looks like a really nice spot for the Knicks. Now, Julius Randle is out. He has a shoulder injury that should keep him out for a couple weeks. They were worried it might be a couple months, maybe the rest of the season. He will be back. Not a huge injury for me. Randall's a great player, and when it comes to the postseason and games against tough teams, yes, he makes a huge impact. Yes, the Knicks are better. But in this matchup tonight, you're going to bring probably Josh Hart into the starting lineup. That's just fine against a Hornets team that is very small and struggles offensively anyway. This is your classic New York Knicks smash spot. It's the first night of a back-to-back, so I think we're getting a little value on the Knicks here because, again, the market looks at it and goes first night of back-to-back. Most teams generally play softer the first night, play their stars less minutes, kind of take their foot off the gas late. Not Tom Thibodeau. He pushes these guys. He pushes them hard for 40-plus minutes. He doesn't care who they're playing, what the schedule spot is. It's the game in front of them that matters the most. And the Knicks have done really well in this spot. If you go back and look, 6-1 or 7-1 straight up and close to that number against the spread. And they're back to first night of their back-to-backs this year. The second night, a lot worse, obviously, in performances. Again, it really takes a lot out of them to play as hard as they do in the first night and then come back and play the second night. So I like this spot quite a bit, but the spread is close to kind of where I have it. I had this Knicks minus 9.5, minus 10. It's, again, I could see a case for the Knicks winning this game by double digits, but I think the better angle here is to take a Charlotte Hornets team total under 107.5. This Charlotte team is a mess. Gordon Hayward is out. Terry Rozier's been traded away. LaMelo Ball is questionable tonight. If LaMelo plays, which I assume he will, I've got the Hornets at 105 points. If he's out tonight, I'll probably go back and maybe add an alternate team total under, something like 100.5. This offense is really bad. It's a team full of athletes. There's potential here all over the roster, but there's just not enough shooting. Brandon Miller's been doing really well. He continues to get better and elevate the hopes and the optimism for this team that Brandon Miller and LaMelo Ball can be the future going forwards. But everyone else is expendable. Hayward will probably be bought out, signed as a free agent by one of these contending teams, even though that's tough given some of the new rules. And, Miles Bridges has been in trade talks from what I understand. PJ Washington, even guys like Nick Richards could be out the door here for Charlotte. So it's just a kind of a messy spot for a team that is not very good offensively already. The Knicks, again, really do well on the first night of back-to-backs. They slow the pace down. They play great defense, and they generally crush bad teams. If you've been reading Hoops with Noops or watching this, you've heard me say it before. Again, the way Thibodeau pushes this team, no matter who they're playing, they don't play down to their competition. They generally win these games and win them comfortably. So if you want to lay 8.5 with the Knicks, that's fine. I'm okay with that. But I just think this is a better angle. Their defense has been fantastic, even since losing Mitchell Robinson and pushing Isaiah Hartenstein into the starting role. The Knicks have the best defensive rating in the NBA. It's really a great defense. And again, I think they'll just swallow up this Hornets team and keep them from scoring. So Hornets team total under 107.5. Now, not for Noops. Let's get to a handful of games. And again, these are games that either I'm probably not betting today or I haven't bet yet. Again, everything that I do goes into the FTN Bets Discord. So as I'll go through and give you some hints and things to do, as we go through for each game, make sure you're in there so you can find out all the official bets I have. And again, I'll put some prop bets in there later. I do every day as we get closer to tip because you always got to wait to see who's actually playing. First game up here, the Los Angeles Clippers go to Cleveland to play the Cavaliers. Cavaliers 2-point underdogs. The total's 225.5. The Clippers are in the middle of a 7-game Eastern Conference road trip going basically up and down the East Coast. Beat the pants off the Celtics 2 nights ago. Should be a good matchup for them. I think they can beat this Cavaliers team, but just a little bit of a funky spot. Again, on the road in the middle of a long trip. This Cavaliers team has been really good. They've won 9 of their last 10 games. They've played great basketball for a month, really back to being the defensive team that we saw dominate the regular season last year. The only thing that bothers me a little bit, and again, the Cavaliers will be better with Evan Mobley long term, but tonight might be his first game back, and that can always be tricky. At least one guy who's gotten used to starting is going to be pushed to the bench. Other guys coming off the bench have seen increased minutes. Those minutes will go away. It's always tough for the ecosystem of a team, if you will, to reorganize like that. So I think this might be a nice spot for Cleveland. A couple of my sharp friends have bet Cleveland already. I'm just a little hesitant with Mobley coming back. And again, the Clippers just being a really great team. And again, maybe given that we're in the middle of a big road trip here, it might be a down spot for the Clippers. But if they want to win this game, they can do so comfortably. So I get it here. I do make the Clippers 3-point favorites. Just going to let this one go. Pelicans visit the Boston Celtics. The Celtics 8-point favorites. The total sits at 232. Celtics again off that pretty bad loss to the Clippers. That game was not close and pretty much the whole way. Clippers came out fast and finished strong. This Pelicans team just really struggles against bad basketball teams. They have a lot of talent, a lot of good kind of second, third tier guys, but no real star power on the team. Zion Williamson really hasn't become the player that they hoped he had yet. Maybe he will. It's just not there this season, and they're just going to be totally outgunned here. Now, the Celtics might be without Kristaps Porzingis, and although he's not the best player in Boston, he might be the most important. His size, his shooting, his defense really unlocks the full potential of this Boston team, and without him, this game might be close. I make the Celtics 6.5 point favorites. So close to a bet here in the 8 and the Pelicans, but man, they've played bad basketball for the last couple weeks. So happy to kind of let this one go. It could be a fun game, but at the end of the day, the Pelicans want to shoot 2-pointers. The Celtics want to shoot 3-pointers, and that's generally good for the team that wants to shoot 3. So I'll pass here, and I think the Pelicans could keep it closer than expected. Speaking of 3-point variance, the Utah Jazz visit the Brooklyn Nets. The Nets 1-point underdogs here, and the total's 232.5. Just want to pull up some numbers here as I look away for a second because this game is all about 3-point variance. We have two teams that are in the top 10 in the NBA in 3-point attempts per game. They each average over 37 3-point attempts per game. That is a staggering number. They shoot about 36%. And let's just think about this for a second, how important the 3-pointer is, and look at basically the impact here of a few sort of small margin events. So again, both of these teams shoot about 35-36% from behind the arc and generate again about 40 points per game from 3. Let's assume that one of those teams, again, they both shoot their 37 threes. One team, again, shoots 33% instead of 35%. The other team's able to get to 39% from 36%. Again, just plus or minus 3%. That is a very, very close number. You put all that together with those attempts, that creates a 9-point variance. That's a 9-point disparity. Just that little bit, that extra 3% is worth 9 points for that team. The other way, let's think about attempts here. They both shoot their 35, 36% like they do normally. Instead of 37 attempts, we see 43, 44 attempts for one team. And, um, the other team shoots just below the 37, say 35 points. That's 11 points worth of 3-pointers. It creates so much variance that it makes it tough to handicap this game. It's the first night of a back-to-back for Utah. They have to play in Madison Square Garden tomorrow. Not a big travel spot from Brooklyn, but a much more high profile game. And not that I expect them to rest anyone. The Jazz are the better team here, but might go back and bet some Nets alternate spreads. Again, when there's more 3-pointers, there's more variance, and then there's more value usually in selling. So what I will tell you to do if you're betting this game, don't play the Jazz -1. Play the -4.5 at a nice plus number. If you're playing the Nets, don't play on +1. I'm going to go back and look at -2.5, -3.5, something in that range, and kind of see again what better price we get there. There's going to be a lot of value in selling points tonight. No bets for now, but might make a Nets wager later. The Phoenix Suns visit the Miami Heat. The Heat 3.5-point favorites, the total 229.5. And you may be surprised to learn that Miami is a favorite. We don't have a clear injury report yet, but you have to think someone from Phoenix is sitting. And that's what the market is telling us here. The Suns played last night, lost a game in tough fashion, really did not look good, despite the fact that all their stars, Beal, Booker, and Durant, played at least 35 minutes, up to 37 minutes. That is a lot of fatigue for a veteran team. Booker's still pretty young, but Beal starting to get a little bit older. Kevin Durant been in the league a long time. It's tough for those guys to play big minutes back to back. I think we're going to see at least a couple of them out tonight. At the same time, as good of a spot it is to fade Phoenix, I don't want to do it with the Heat. They've lost their last 6 games. They really have not been particularly close. I think part of it is the transition with Terry Rozier coming in, but something's just not quite right in Miami. I'm still confident in my Heat futures bets that I made the day after Terry Rozier was traded to Miami and Glenn Rivers was made the head coach of the Bucks, but I'm not confident enough in Miami to bet them here in this game. So I think it's Miami or pass, but I'm definitely passing with a Heat team that has not played good basketball. The Houston Rockets host the Los Angeles Lakers. Rockets 1-point underdogs. The total's 230 here. This number has been moving a little bit towards the Rockets. Might be a pick 'em or even Rockets a short favorite by the time you see this. And that's because LeBron James and Anthony Davis are questionable. We don't know which one of them is playing. My guess is one of them might sit out tonight on the road. Coming into Houston, they played an overtime game in their last contest. Probably a decent spot to rest LeBron. If he's out, I might look at an under here. This total is pretty high, but I think it reflects what's happened to Houston. They started the year with some great performances at home, a really, really great defense top to bottom. But through injuries, through changes to their scheme, for teams being able to play into that trapping aggressive defense they play, they really have struggled to keep the pace low and keep teams from scoring. So we'll see how this goes tonight. Again, kind of leaning towards under here, but really kind of a rough spot. The Minnesota Timberwolves go to Oklahoma City to play the Thunder. The Thunder are 2-point favorites. The total is 226. These teams have already played 3 times. The Timberwolves are 3-point favorites in Minnesota. The Thunder, 2.5-point favorites in Oklahoma City. The Thunder covered twice. There was a push in there. So it's been a good matchup for Oklahoma City. And you look at it, they were -2.5 last time. They're just -2 now. That small adjustment because the Thunder played last night in Detroit in a game they basically kind of gave up on. Most of their starters, all their starters actually played less than 30 minutes, and most of them were benched for the fourth quarter when the Thunder were losing that game. It just shows you that Dagnall and the team really not interested in winning that game in Detroit last night. Should be all eyes on tonight, laser focused on this Minnesota team. Really thought about betting the Thunder here, but I come out to Oklahoma City -3, so just not enough big enough edge for me. As much as I like the matchup for Oklahoma City, Minnesota's good. They can win this game outright, if not lose by 1 and cover. So lean towards the Thunder. Might find some way to bet them later. I'm still kind of working through some other iterations, maybe Thunder first half, something like that, but nothing for now. Sacramento Kings visit the Memphis Grizzlies. The Grizzlies 8.5-point underdogs. The total 225. Memphis has covered and been really good against the spread without Desmond Bane, without Ja Morant. It's hard to value superstars, and I think the market tends to overvalue them, especially on teams like Memphis that are young and have some talent in the second unit. This is not a team that's going to be winning games anytime soon. I mean, they're covering numbers 8, +8, +9, +10. We're able to win outright in Miami, but it's been really good for them. I show a little bit of value. I make the Kings -6.5, -7, but it's a back-to-back for Memphis, a 3-4. Should be a lot of fatigue built up on those legs. It's Grizzlies or pass. May still end up with a Grizzlies bet. Just haven't done it yet. And honestly, I probably won't. I really shouldn't bet the Grizzlies. It's just a bad spot for them. So nothing for me there. The Washington Wizards visit the San Antonio Spurs. And I have one simple question. The Spurs have won 2 games in a row. Do they really want to win a third in a row? I know that Washington isn't trying to win either, but this game sucks. This game is a mess. Don't even think about it. I'm sorry that I brought it up on the screen, so it had to enter your brain. Let's move on. The Orlando Magic visit the Dallas Mavericks, a spot where I really wish I had been up last night when this opened. The Magic were +6 then. They're +4 now. I make this Dallas -2.5, -3. So would have loved that +6, even a +5.5, but we're just out of range. It's a good matchup for Orlando. They have the defensive pieces to maybe slow down Doncic, but it's Dallas at home. They've been really, really good here. And Orlando's on a back-to-back. They had to play in Orlando last night, beat the Suns. Really nice game for them. Not a ton of minutes for their players, but have to fly to Dallas and play a team that really has been tough at home. So as good as that Magic defense is, and I do expect them to match up well, Luka's been incredible and has been able to find space against anybody. And Kyrie Irving is out for Dallas, but Derek Lively's in. Luka's got his pick and roll partner. Should be a fun, really close game tonight, but can't advise you bet anything. Although, again, lean towards the Magic. Potential NBA Finals preview and the debut of Glenn Rivers as head coach for the Milwaukee Bucks as they visit the Denver Nuggets. The Nuggets here 4-point favorites. The Nuggets have been great at home against good teams, but Milwaukee just playing at a higher level these last couple games. They seem to be really excited that Adrian Griffin is gone. Rivers' first night, usually what you see, a big bump for teams. They really come out and play hard for new coaches. So I make this Denver -2.5, -3. My gut says Nuggets. They play up to these games. This is a big situation in front of a home crowd. I think they can beat this Bucks team comfortably if they want to. Just not willing to bet on it. So enjoy the game. It's going to be an awesome watch, but I can't think of a wager. And another game that might be good, might be bad. We have no idea who's going to play tonight in the Philadelphia 76ers at Portland Trailblazers. The Blazers 9-point underdogs, the total 224. And Joel Embiid, Tyrese Maxey, Tobias Harris listed questionable for the Sixers. Portland, we haven't seen an injury report, but everyone was questionable for their game last night. Expect them to be questionable again tonight. Just a mess of a game. The market, again, kind of telling us Embiid's going to play, but the Sixers have to go to Golden State tomorrow night. Embiid really only has 6. I think he's missed 11 games. If he misses another 6, he's out of contention for the MVP. So that would tell me he's going to be pushing to play, but hasn't played a back-to-back at all this year. And my guess is Philadelphia would want to rest him tonight instead of tomorrow night. Just a mess. Not enough known. So we'll put that one on the side. That is the rest of the games. Again, the game I do like, the New York Knicks go to Charlotte. Should crush the Charlotte team. I expect the defense to be very good. Give me a Hornets team total under 107.5 from our friends at MGM. If you don't have an MGM account, make sure you go to FTN and sign up there. Always helps us pick up some bonuses and continue to help grow us because we're doing great stuff. FTN, we're rolling out a new website in the next couple of months, kind of bringing everything together. But all the same great data, all the same great tools. The tools are going to be even better. Frank Bryant keeps telling me that all this stuff's going to be awesome. And every time he does tell me that, it's even better than I expected. So it's the best time ever to sign up. Again, you can see the code down there at the bottom. And again, also gets you access to the Discord. I mentioned 3 or 4 bets I'll probably make later. I'll put in a lot of player props. We've got 12 games. I'm sure I'll find a few of those. But thanks for watching, everybody. Really appreciate it. Give us a thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe to this channel. Put a comment below with any questions you might have. I'll be sure to get back to you. And best of luck. I'll be back in written form tomorrow, video form on Friday. See you then.